Every agreement is a seed. Every seed grows into identity, and identity shapes destiny. From prison yards to podiums, Bilal Coach B. Willis has lived the truth of one statement: we are what we agree to. In his powerful new book, available on Amazon, We Are What We Agree To, Decoding Our Mind, Coach B reveals how the choices we inherit, accept, or reject decide whether we remain stuck in cycles or step boldly into freedom. Drawing from raw personal stories, parables, neuroscience, and practical coaching tools, We Are What We Agree To goes beyond inspiration. It's a roadmap for resilience, accountability, and purpose. With this must-read and life-changing book, you'll learn how to break free from trauma, set boundaries without guilt, and manage your energy, time, and thoughts like real wealth. Order your copy right now. We Are What We Agree To, Decoding Our Mind, from author Bilal H. Willis, on Amazon. Don't just live by old agreements, make new ones, and live free.
Chapter 1. Before the gates open, who are you, really? If you happen to pick this up before your release date, this chapter is for you. I want you to first think of the most powerful revelation I ever had. The first major mental and spiritual war I fought and won was with myself. I wasn't born violent. I wasn't born mean or angry. No, I had to fight and defeat my own natural-born nature in order to partake and exist in the lifestyle that would send me through a revolving door of violence and captures, or, as they like to say, recidivism. I'm willing to bet you did too. Now sit and really think. Who are you? By whose authority do you act when making decisions? Your shot caller? You have a shot caller? It's not you? How many violent acts have you committed in the name of prison politics? How many times did you follow a code, bylaws, or a constitution you never even sat at the table to write? How many people in your yard right now were at that table? You're following blind laws written by irrational minds over 100 years ago, laws born out of fear, control, and survival mode. Ever wonder why the things that happen in prison make little sense? We are defeated, segregated, and forced into wars against people who, by all logic, are our peers. Men and women locked up, just like us, yet we fight them, stab them, rob them, all while living the same caged life. Then years later, we run into each other at a recovery meeting, bond instantly, and laugh over having been in the same joint. Make it make sense. The real questions: who are you? What do you believe in? By whose authority are you living? What will you do differently? Are you the villain or the hero in your child's story? Or yours, for that matter? Freedom begins by asking these questions before release, because if you don't know who you are walking out, the world will define it for you. Self-assessment, decoding who you really are. This is not a test. There are no right or wrong answers. This is your mirror moment. Answer honestly, and don't rush. Write your truth. Section 1, Identity. When someone asks me, who are you? The first 3 things I say are: 2. If I remove my gang, crew, hustle, and prison identity, what's left? 3. What am I most proud of about myself? 4. What am I most ashamed of? Section 2, Authority. Who has influenced my decisions the most in my life? 2. Whose approval have I chased the hardest? 3. Who or what do I fear disappointing the most? How often do I act on my principles versus someone else's rules? Always others, sometimes mine, mostly mine, always mine. Section 3, Violence and Loyalty. How many violent acts have I committed that weren't even personal, but for reputation, politics, or survival? Did I ever stop to question if the person I hurt could have been my ally outside? Yes, No. Have I ever broken my own moral code just to follow the rules? Yes. No. If yes, write an example. Section 4. Family and legacy. Do I see myself as the hero or the villain in my child's story? How would my child describe me right now? If I died tomorrow, what would my legacy be? 4. What do I want it to be instead? Section 5. The mirror test. Look into an actual mirror if you can. If not, close your eyes and imagine one, and ask yourself, who is staring back at me? What do they need to let go of before stepping into freedom? What part of me is worth protecting at all costs? Write down whatever comes up. Don't censor it. Scoring reflection. Go back through your answers and mark every response that came from fear or survival mode. Mark every response that came from hope, freedom, or love. Which list is longer? That ratio shows you how much of your current mindset is still coded for survival versus freedom. Closing thoughts. Before the gates open, you have a choice: to carry the same mindset out with you or to begin decoding it now. The war isn't against the system or the yard or even your enemies. The first war, the most important one, is against yourself. And when you win that war, you're already walking free. Chapter 2. The Invisible Prison. You don't need bars to stay locked up. I've seen this over and over. Men get released, but their minds are still behind the walls. The way they sit, back to the wall, scanning. The way they sleep, with one eye open. The way they breathe, waiting for the next threat. Free, by definition, imprisoned by design. That's the invisible prison. 1. Carrying prison with you. When I came home, my son jumped on my back. Just out of playful love, I flinched. I stiffened. My body tensed, ready to fight even though nothing was wrong. That was my amygdala, so used to coding for threat that it couldn't tell safety from danger. Years behind bars aren't just time served, they're trauma served. The body doesn't forget, it reacts, even when threats no longer exist. Studies show that in prison population, PTSD rates are staggering, up to 17.8% for men and 40% for women by lifetime estimates. And even first-time inmates entering jail show higher PTSD than general populations. This isn't a weakness, it's conditioning. Isolation, trauma, and constant surveillance rewire your emotional circuits. 2. Trauma and lifelong language. Nadine Burke-Harris shows us in our widely viewed TED Talk that childhood adversity, like abuse, neglect, household dysfunction, not only affects our brain development, but scars our DNA and shapes health outcomes into adulthood. Many of us already started our lives in survival mode, and then we landed in cages that reinforced every damaged code. Sheila Bruno, pioneer of post-incarceration syndrome work, reminds us, prison doesn't just lock up bodies, it rewires the brain. That wiring stays even when cells open. The living room camera. My wife and I keep a living room camera for when we're on late night shifts, so our kids are always safe. Only she has access to the feed. For us, it's a tool of love and protection. But I learned that even tools of safety can trigger trauma. One night, while my wife was away on vacation, I was home alone. I sat down and noticed that the light on the camera was on. In that instant, something shifted inside me. It wasn't logical, it was instinctual. I felt the same paranoia I had carried through years of incarceration, where being watched was a daily reality. My body remembered what it was like to always be monitored, to live without privacy, without autonomy. My nervous system shouted, "Turn it off." So I did. Within seconds, my wife received a notification that the camera had gone offline. Her trauma responded to mine. She immediately texted me, accusing me of being sneaky. For her, this was survival too. She had lived through betrayal before, so when the camera went dark, her body said, "You're hiding something." And that's when my trauma responded to her trauma. I felt accused, unseen, and attacked, and I reacted. In minutes, a simple camera light had sparked a cycle of compounded trauma responses. The science of surveillance and trauma. Research has shown that surveillance can re-trigger trauma for people with incarceration or abuse histories. A 2017 study in surveillance and society found that constant monitoring produces hypervigilance and re-traumatization in those with histories of carceral control. Similarly, PTSD research from the Journal of Traumatic Stress confirms that environments perceived as unsafe, especially where privacy is removed, activate the amygdala and stress hormones even when there is no actual threat. In relationships, this creates what psychologists call compounded trauma responses. One partner's trigger activates the others, creating a feedback loop of fear, accusation, and reaction. Without awareness, these loops can damage trust, but with awareness, they can become opportunities for healing and repair. Lessons from the camera. 1. Trauma is not logical, it's physiological. My nervous system saw a camera light, not safety. It saw surveillance and control. 2. Trauma is contagious. My wife's fear was real for her, my reaction was real for me. Without tools, those fears feed each other. 3. Repair requires language. Instead of escalating, what if I had paused and said, "This light triggered me, I need to explain"? What if she had replied, "This notification scared me, help me understand"? Tool. Pause before you react. So when you feel triggered, name what's happening in your body. I feel watched. Communicate it as your experience, not their fault. This triggered me. Ask what they are experiencing. What did this mean for you? Compounded trauma doesn't have to destroy connection. If you slow down, it can actually build deeper understanding. Sometimes it's not the camera watching us, it's our trauma watching us. And when two traumas start watching each other, only awareness and repair can break the cycle. 3. The codes that no longer serve. When you step outside physically, your mind can still be a dungeon of codes. Don't show weakness, be ready to fight, trust no one, hustle or die. These might have kept you alive inside, but outside, they keep you trapped. Take a hard look. Do you jump at loud sounds? Can you sit and relax without gearing up for danger? Do others call you paranoid or on edge? That tension in your shoulders, the rage in your chest, the reactivity, they're all souvenirs of invisible walls. 4. PTSD, symptoms in the body. PTSD isn't just nightmares and flashbacks, it's intrusive memories, avoidance, negative mood, hyper-arousal. In you, it might show up as chronic fatigue, racing heartbeat, rage over small slights, startles at harmless noise, substance use for escape. These bodily symptoms are your mind screaming that it's still in survival mode. Reflection prompts, breaking the chains. Take your time, speak truth. 1. When you reacted as if danger was near, even when none existed, what triggered it? 2. How did your body feel in that moment? Tight chest, sweating, fist. 3. What survival code did that reaction represent? 4. What would a freedom code replace it with? Example, I trust the present moment. 6. Rewrite from survival code to freedom code. Survival code. Don't trust anyone. Freedom code. I can trust wisely and discern compassion. Survival code. Stay ready to fight. Freedom code. I respond with discipline, not reaction. A survival code. Weakness invites harm. Freedom code. Strength shows in healing and vulnerability. Write your own 5 survival to freedom rewrites. Keep them where you'll see them. 7. Revisiting the jump startle. Let me tell you again why this matters. When my son jumped on my back one evening, I tensed hard. My heart was thumping, like someone was attacking me. I realized I was free, but not free. My body was still in a cell. That's when I began to decode myself, recognize the fear, name it, and start rewriting. Now there was a new fear, the what if I had actually hit my son or something. Unacceptable. 8. Tools for the mind. Mindful pauses before reacting, breathe. Name the feeling, check your body. Is your neck tight, chest heavy? Journal where tension lives. Safe space practice. Sit somewhere peaceful, remind your body it's not under attack. Closing. Unlocking the invisible. The invisible prison is the hardest one to see. No locks, no guards. Just coded trauma and survival instincts lingering like ghosts. But here's what freedom means. Noticing the old cold, naming it, and choosing the new. Every time you slow the breath, every time you pause instead of react, you chip away at those invisible bars. You're not yet free, but you're on your way. This is called slowing your thinking, because the longer it takes to take and make a decision, the more options appear before you. Think of a time recently you reacted fast and poorly. Write what you would have said if you had thought about it first. Chapter 3. Trauma Codes. Post-incarceration syndrome, ACEs, and how triggers hijack the body. You can do everything right on paper and still feel wrong inside. That's because trauma doesn't listen to paperwork. It listens to patterns. It speaks through your body, your breath, your startle reflex, your sleep. It whispers old commands to your nervous system. Stay ready. Don't trust. Hit first. Run fast. Disappear. Those are trauma codes. And if we don't decode them, they run our life. In the last chapter, we named the invisible prison. Here, we map its wiring, how adversity and incarceration install survival scripts, how those scripts become post-incarceration syndrome patterns, how fight, flight, freeze, fawn live in the body, and how to begin rewriting the code on purpose. 1. Before the bars, ACEs and the roots of survival mode. Many of us didn't meet trauma in prison, we carried it in. Adverse child experiences, ACEs, things like violence, neglect, caregiver substance use, and household instability leave biological fingerprints that shape health and behavior for decades. In the original CDC Kaiser work, about 2/3 of adults had at least one ACE, and roughly 1 in 5 had 3 or more. More recent CDC surveillance estimates 63.9% with 1 or more ACE and 17.3% with 4 or more ACEs. Higher ACE exposure is linked to worse mental and physical health outcomes, substance use, and higher risk behaviors across the lifespan. As Dr. Nadine Burke-Harris popularized in her TED Talk, ACEs aren't just bad memories. They can dysregulate stress systems, change brain development, raise long-term risk, from depression and substance use to heart disease. Trauma becomes physiology. Translation: many of us landed in a high-threat world as kids, then graduated into a system that confirmed our fear. By the time the gate opened, survival mode wasn't a habit, it was our baseline. 2. Inside the walls, PTSD is common and often unseen. Trauma inside compounds trauma before. Trauma inside compounds trauma from before. Systematic reviews show prison PTSD rates far above community levels, with point prevalence in male prisoners ranging roughly 0.1% to 27%, and in female prisoners 12% to 38%. Pooled estimates suggest 6% for men and 21% for women, acknowledging study differences. When release comes, the conditions change, but the nervous system may not. That helps explain why so many people struggle soon after getting out and why addressing trauma is a public safety issue, not just a personal one. National Recidivism Analysis, BJS, show persistently high rearrest rates within 5 years of release, an urgent signal that mindset and mental health supports are not optional. 3. Naming the pattern, post-incarceration syndrome, PICS. Post-incarceration syndrome isn't a DSM diagnosis. It's a lived pattern advocates describe to capture how incarceration can echo in the behavior, mood, trust, attention, relationships, and identity after release. As Shalia Bruno, a leading voice raising awareness, puts it, PICS is a psychological condition that develops in people who have been incarcerated, especially for long periods. The symptoms can mirror PTSD while folding in institutionalization and reentry stressors. Her work is a lighthouse, naming the distance, anger, triggers, numbness, and disconnection partners and families often see and misread when loved ones come home. The point isn't to medicalize every struggle, it's to recognize the pattern so we can respond with skill, not shame. Coach's note: when we name the code, we can change it. When we hide it, we keep it. 4. How trauma codes the body: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. When the brain perceives threat, your sympathetic nervous system hits the gas, adrenaline/cortisol, preparing you to fight or run. Later, the parasympathetic system could tap the brakes, but chronic adversity can keep the engine redlined. That's the loop: hyperarousal, numbness, to hyperarousal again. Classic defenses aren't just fight or flight. There's freeze, tonic immobility, shut down to survive, and fawn, appease to reduce danger. These are adaptive in threat contexts. They become problems when they're the only responses left. Body level signs you might recognize: hypervigilance, exaggerated startle, scanning rooms, back to the wall seating, tight chest/shoulders/jaw, shallow breathing, headaches, gut issues, irritability, jumpiness, sleep problems, numbness, spacing out, automatic appeasing, saying yes to avoid conflict, or automatic aggression over minor slights. Coach's story: so one night after I got out, my little man jumped on my back out of pure love. I snapped rigid, heart pounding, fist tight, like I was under attack. Nothing was wrong. My body didn't know. That's when I knew I was free but not free. Naming it gave me a starting line. Trauma code versus freedom codes. Survival code: inside. Don't show weakness. Answer disrespect with force. Trust no one. Freedom code: outside. Share wisely. Set boundaries. Use discernment. Protect peace. Survival code: kept me alive then. Don't trust anyone. Freedom code: keeps me free now. I trust wisely. I verify and build trust in steps. Survival code: kept me alive then. Handle disrespect with violence. Freedom code: keeps me free now. I handle disrespect with boundaries and consequences. Survival code: never show emotion. Freedom code: I express emotion with skill. It's strength, not weakness. Survival code: always hustle quick. Freedom code: I build momentum legally. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Survival code: mask up, never let them see you. Freedom code: authenticity with discernment, safety plus truth. Use this as your daily reprogramming table. Post it where you can see it. Add your own rows. 6. Trigger map. What sets me off? Exercise. Build your trigger map. Journal. External triggers: sounds, keys, doors, loud voices, smells, bleach, sweat, spaces, crowds, small rooms. 2. Internal triggers: shame, feeling disrespected, feeling watched, changes in routine. 3. Body tells. Where does the first signal show up? Jaw, gut, fist, breath. 4. Default defense. Is it fight, flight, freeze, fawn? Circle what happens most. Now decode. What did this trigger come from? Before or during prison? What survival code activates? What freedom code will I practice next time? 7. Nervous system tools, teaching the body it's safe now. You can't white knuckle your way out of a stress response. You have to train your body out of it. Evidence-informed basics. A. The 60-second reset. Breath. Inhale through the nose, short pause. Inhale again to fill. Exhale slowly through the mouth. Repeat for a few minutes. Cyclic sighing engages the parasympathetic brake. B. Orienting. Name 5 things you see, 4 you feel, 3 you hear. Remind the brain where your feet are. Right now. I'm safe. C. Move the charge. Walk. push-ups, wall sits, or quick stretch flow. Completing a mobilization often calms fight-flight chemistry. D. Build safe micro-routines. Same chair for morning breath work, same 10-minute walk, same check-in call. Predictability rewires alarm systems over time. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. We're training, not auditioning. This chapter offers education, not medical advice. If symptoms significantly impact daily life, consider licensed trauma-informed care. A. Families and partners, expectation gaps, and repair. Partners often expect the same person who left to walk back in, and that mismatch breeds conflict. Shalia Bruno has done crucial work educating families about the distance, anger, triggers, and numbness that may follow people home. Bringing PICS into the light creates language for patience, boundaries, and support plans. Consider sharing this chapter together and building a win/then script. When I'm triggered, then we pause, breathe, space, reconvene. 9. System safety and why this matters for recidivism. We talk a lot about jobs and housing, and we should, but without mindset and body-based regulation, good opportunities get blown by old codes. National data show large shares of people are rearrested within 5 years of release. Better trauma-aware reentry supports are part of bending that curve. Policy takeaway: trauma-informed parole, peer support, and evidence-based behavioral health congruent with ACEs science are not extras, they're infrastructure. 10. Your 30-day decoding plan. Workbook. Week 1, awareness. Build your trigger map. Track daily one moment of fight, flight, freeze, fawn that you notice. What set it off? What did your body do? Week 2, interruptions. Practice 60-second reset 3 times a day and orienting when tense. Replace one survival code with a freedom code and a real conversation. Week 3, agreements, not promises. One agreement with yourself you can keep daily. Example, 10-minute walk after lunch. One boundary you will hold this week, what it is plus how you'll state it. Foreshadows, chapter 5. Week 4, connection. Identify 2 safe people, peer, mentor, family. Share your trigger map and ask for one small support each. Journal prompt: where did I notice more choice this week? Chapter 4, Post-Incarceration Syndrome, What to Watch For. Based on lived narratives aligned with PTSD science, watch for persistent hypervigilance, exaggerated startles, irritability, outbursts, sleep disturbance, nightmares, emotional numbness, social withdrawal, distrust of systems and helpers, feeling watched or judged, identity shock, who am I now, role loss, mask, confusion. When these show up, that's not failure, it's information. Use the tools. If symptoms persist or escalate, trauma-informed therapy, EMDR, CPT, somatic approaches can help. Practice scripts. When I'm disrespected, survival code, hit first, freedom code, state boundary, exit if needed. Script: I'm not doing disrespect, I'm stepping away, we can talk when it's calm. When I feel watched, survival code, scan, pace, argue. Freedom code, orient plus breath. Script: feet here now, 2 breaths, I'm safe in this room. When I want to say yes to avoid conflict, fawn. Survival code is appease. Freedom code is honest no. Script: I appreciate you asking, I'm not available for that. So, coach's story, from startle to choice. I keep coming back to that moment with my son, joy jumping on my back and my body reading it like war. The old code fired instantly, freeze, then fight. Today, when that surge hits, I name it, alarm. Breathe, orient, and choose. My son gets a smile and a hug, same stimulus, different code. That's the win that matters. What you measure grows. Daily tally, check 1. I noticed a trigger today. I interrupted 1 survival code. I practiced 1 freedom code. I asked for support once. One check becomes two, two becomes a week, weeks become momentum, momentum becomes a different life. Bridge to what's next. We've mapped trauma codes, honored the science, and started body level tools. Next, we turn toward trust. Not in the abstract, but in the practice. Agreements versus promises. In Chapter 5, we'll show you how to keep commitments small, winnable, and stackable so your nervous system learns, I can rely on me. Because freedom is a mindset first. The more you honor it in the body, the freer your life gets. A woman's perspective, trauma codes, and reentry. 5 key things to know about women and incarceration. 1. Rapidly growing population, limited data. Women now make up nearly 18% of those under correctional supervision, with 1 in 138 women under supervision in 2021. Despite overall female incarceration declining 25% between 2011 and 2021. However, comprehensive national data on incarcerated women remain incomplete. 2. Unique trauma and mental health profiles. Incarcerated women report much higher exposure to trauma and mental health disorders than men. About 70% experience severe physical abuse by a parent or caregiver. 59% suffered sexual abuse as children, and over 75% endured intimate partner violence in adulthood. Many of these women struggle with depression, PTSD, and substance dependence. 3. Fewer gangs, more pseudo-families. Unlike the gang politics often present in men's prisons, incarcerated women typically organize around pseudo-families, informal caregiving networks, emotional bonds, and surrogate familial structures. These networks can provide emotional survival, but they also come with loyalty expectations and emotional obligations. 4. Heightened institutional punishment for minor infractions. Women are more likely than men to face solitary confinement for relatively minor or nonviolent offenses, such as talking back or refusing orders, frequently linked to unaddressed mental health needs. 5. Reentry challenges, mothers, stigma, and support gaps. Over 60% of incarcerated women are mothers of minor children. After release, they confront greater barriers to housing, sometimes forced to choose between homelessness or returning to abusive partners. They face intensified social stigma, particularly around criminality and motherhood. Survival code, women, build your pseudo-family, hold space for others, protect emotional bonds. Freedom code, women, balance emotional caregiving with boundary clarity. Grieve trauma while choosing your own guardrails. Reflection prompts for understanding gendered trauma codes. 1. What were your emotional survival strategies in confinement? Did you become the nurturer, the mediator, the silent supporter? 2. How did the absence of gang politics change your approach to trust and risk? Did emotional alliances feel more volatile or safer? 3. What emotional labor did you perform inside that you don't want to carry outside? And how might you redefine self-preservation? 4. How would your freedom codes differ from a male peer? What does safe vulnerability look like in your life? Why this matters? Including the woman's perspective ensures this manual honors every pathway to freedom. Trauma doesn't wear a uniform. Gender, roles, emotions, and expectations color it. By recognizing these differences, we create a system and internal code that works for all of us.